I was taking a look at your background on LinkedIn. Obviously, you have a very heavy science background. And I was just curious to know, was that scientific curiosity innate in you early on?
That's a good question because I started out hoping to be a musician in my high school years. And then I decided, well, I'll probably be able to make a better living working in science. Plus, I love memorizing facts. I love understanding our world and the cells that make us. So I just decided to do a bachelor's in biology. So that's where my journey began. I went through the years of education, went through grad school, learned about bacteriology and microbiology and the microbes that live in our world and make up our world. And then I decided to keep that going all the way to my PhD.
Yeah, wow. So you like went the opposite side of the brain there, huh? In terms of like from the artsy music side to the analytical side. What got you in tune to music in the first place? Your parents?
Yeah, my parents made me play the piano at first, and then our school also made us play the violin, but I still kept playing, as you can see in the background over there.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like it just complements the science side of things really well because you have like all the facts-based stuff on the right, and then on the left you've got the music basically. Like they complement each other. The music helps me bring out the creativity, and then the science gets me all the facts.
Yeah, I can relate. Obviously, I'm a musician as well and been playing for most of my life. And I feel like without the music side and the creativity side definitely keeps me going on the scientific side, you know? So it's a perfect complement as well, because sometimes it can get a little dry, but it just keeps you going both ways, right?
Exactly.
Which is great. Yeah, so now tell me about your career path after you graduated. So you did a master's, and if I believe you almost finished your PhD, right? Tell us that story.
Yeah, so the pandemic hit while I was just about to study a new method for isolating bacteria from saliva and extracting its RNA. So I couldn't test that method further. So there were a couple years where I was working without any funding, and I thought to myself, well, I need a different career path if this is what's going to happen to me with my PhD. So I spoke with a couple of people across the life sciences just to see what other kinds of careers are out there. But the one that really resonated with me most was the marketing side of things. So I love communicating research. I loved writing my thesis. Like that was the best part of the thesis process. And I thought to myself, well, could I make a career out of producing content and talking to people about science? So I reached out to a bunch of people. They pointed me towards lobbying, which I tried out for, helped bring Trikafta to Canada, for example. It's a life-changing drug for CF. And then after that, I thought, could there be a career working from home and doing the writing stuff? Because, the pandemic made us all work from home for a couple of years. So I decided to speak with a couple of freelance writers and marketers, and then they all taught me about the career of being a writer. So I eventually started taking up a couple of projects, helped some companies bring out their marketing materials to the world and promote the products. And then from there, I decided I can make a full career out of this. So I decided to start my own business.
How would you describe yourself? A scientific content writer, scientific writer
Yeah, I'm trying to
title?
delve into brand management now. So
Yeah?
it's an extension of all the content and the marketing for the more content. That's all one aspect of brand management. So I find I'm the kind of person who always loves to learn and expand my skill set. I really got into content marketing first. First, I started branding Genowrite as a writing agency. We just do a lot of writing, but then I realized it's actually just as fun, if not more so, to help a company figure out what their brand is and how to project it to the world and get them the kinds of leads they needed. I realized I was already doing some of this as a writer. Some of the case studies I produced for my clients actually boosted their sales by a lot. And you can even see it in their year end report for the very year that I wrote the content. It said our company's operations were boosted by the fact that we had strong sales of this product, which I marketed. You can see it in
Yeah.
my case studies, in my profiles. So I thought to myself, why not expand that further to brand management? Like, let's hear about your science. Let's hear about who you're trying to target, and then I'll help you make the content and the branding that will help you get there. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're brand management agencies now.
Okay, that's a good pivot. Now, we're going to have to approach, obviously, in terms of content writing and scientific writing or just writing in general for the public, well, we got to talk about AI. So, in a world where ChatGPT can summarize a white paper in seconds, obviously, I'm sure you're one of those that think that the human element is essential to scientific writing. So, where do you see AI failing in this space at this moment right now versus, someone like you? What do you think you can bring to the table where AI can't right now?
It's perfect timing because I think I watched this on a Reddit thread. It can interpolate, but it can't extrapolate nearly as well.
Mm,
So based on available, like if you're asking it to search for information and gather like an average of all the research that's being done and the coolest stuff, it can do a good job. If you wanted to get it to do research for you and to get you an overview of the industry and where you think it might be going, it's good for that. But if you want something more specific for a given brand, or if you wanted to extrapolate a company's brand based on what it's working on, it struggles. It doesn't do much of a job when it comes to distinguishing one company's brand over another. You'll have noticed when you're going on a company page about automation, for example, almost every page will say the same thing. We do things more reproducibly than everyone else. We can work with really tiny volumes that no one else can. We can automate the process and make everything easier. They'll have these words that you're thinking to yourself, these words just keep popping up all the darn time. Like best in class or streamline your research with so and so or there's another good one. There's a couple of good ones. In fact, there was another AI paper I read that covered some of these keywords. I'm trying to remember.
that becomes almost generic now.
We are set to transform the industry with so and so finding and so and technological advance. It's getting stale because everyone's
Hmm.
using it. And everyone's starting to use, even everyone's now starting to use the when everyone says this, no one's saying it kind of phrasing. Like that's also a product of AI. But that partly came from the Great Incredibles movie from Pixar, where he said, if everyone's super, nobody's super. So the only way to distinguish your copy now is to write in a completely different way, and that's something only a human can do, because the AI is only used to creating an average of, shall we say it, an average expected word set, so to speak. I expect these words to pop up after each other, and so when you start doing that, everyone's going to start sounding the same.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well, not just for the scientific industry or life science industry, but other industries. And you're right. You're damn right. Like at the end of the day, what makes you unique is your life experience, how, your background, how you were raised, how you talk, how you speak, how you think. And that's something that's harder to replicate for sure. Google is integrating Gemini in Gmail or something so that Gemini is able to pretty much analyze all your email that you've written in your life and understand the tone that you use, how you write. And I guess if you had a YouTube channel, it can combine that learning plus your YouTube channel and how you speak and basically, do the best job of mimicking you in an email response. So that's kind of getting scary, It's getting to that next level where we're here discussing that, you're very unique and speak and you write a certain way. But now AI is starting to learn that and theoretically can in the future write like you write. It can't think like you, at least not yet, but that's the next level, to try and mimic you even more. It's pretty remarkable, you know.
Yeah, I want to speak
Um,
into that for a second because
yeah,
when it comes to AI being able to replicate your voice, yeah, that's great and all, and it's great at
your
mimicking who you
tone,
are and your
yeah,
tone. But what if you wanted a different tone one day? What if you thought maybe I don't like the way I'm talking and I want to change it because the way I'm doing it right now is not working? Can AI detect that change, or is it going to try to shift you back to what it thought of you before? Because people change.
we all have our own tone, whether we're angry, happy, indifferent. We all have that tone, right? So, are you saying like next time I'm angry, I'm going to change my tone of how I'm usually angry. Is that what you mean? If that happens, then yeah, that's an exception. If I'm angry, I'll write an email that looks like me being angry. I wouldn't go back and say, okay, well, I'm going to be angry in a different way. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like there are so many different ways to be angry, right? You can be passive aggressive, you can be outright aggressive, you can just adopt the silent method. You can also,
Yeah, but if you're a person that is a passive aggressive person when they're angry, I understand, with years of therapy, you can change and no longer be a passive aggressive angry person. I mean, of course, that happens for sure. So I guess in that sense, yeah, if you have a new history of being not passive aggressive, yeah, I could probably pick on that too.
but the
You
thing
know.
is, like you said, the thing about people is you could have sudden changes out of nowhere. You can have the more gradual changes, and you can even try to mask your true identity in many different ways. There's so many intricacies about people that I don't think AI can fully cover. I mean, just ask Elizabeth Holmes. Like she was able to completely do a complete personality change when she was reaching out to investors. If you read Bad Blood, she would just lower
Yeah,
her voice on purpose, for example, just to increase her authority. Sure, AI could
true.
probably pick up on those trends,
Yes.
but at
Yes.
the same time, it's like, what if you wanted to change that? Like I was saying, people are very complex. The AI tries to reduce people into specific kinds of personalities and characteristics, and I just don't think that's healthy to do for people because people are a lot more complicated than that.
No, you're right. But I think, if you approach AI as a productivity tool and not give your soul and your life away to AI, you can still use it really efficiently. Let's just sign your life away to Google and say, okay, I authorize AI to just take a look at all my videos and all my emails and stuff and start responding to emails like the way I normally would. And you just shaved off 3 hours of my time. Great, right? But you still have control over AI. Like you can still say, no, this email I'm going to write by myself, or whenever you send it to this person, don't send it. I'll send it. You can still have some sort of control over that if you do want to change your tone and everything. So it's definitely a productivity efficiency tool for me. Anyways, that's how I see it.
The thing
Yeah.
is, though, is that the more you use it, it can be quite subliminal. The more you start surrendering your brain
Uh-huh.
to
Uh-huh.
doing everything to AI. And oftentimes I've seen people just copy paste AI copy on their newsletter or their website just because it was easy. Hey, heck, even I did it before, but then when I actually looked at my actual copy and read it over and over again, the more I realized it actually wasn't really saying anything at all. The AI likes to use certain words that sound really nice, but actually read between the lines, you actually leave yourself wondering what's it actually saying, and that's the problem I'm trying to address by
Yeah.
having people return to human writing to actually reintegrate their own critical thinking into their own writing, because even certain words have meaning, and what the AI is doing is that if it uses it so often it becomes valueless, and you're starting to realize that, I mean, I'm starting to see it myself too, that the words it uses don't actually mean anything because it's just a mishmash of it puts together.
I hear you. I can see that for sure. On a deeper level, though, AI, I feel, is taking away the struggle and taking away that uncomfortable feeling that I think humans need to feel sometimes. Like, for example, right? Like, I just had to write a really tough email to one of our partners. Now, in the past, you would, struggle over that email, just you make sure the tone is just right. Maybe you'd run it by a couple of people, a couple of mentors to make sure it's right. You'd mull it over a day or two, just make sure. But now, you just ask AI to come up with it and boom, it's not so bad, So I admittedly, that's what I did, to avoid that struggle and to be quicker. I ran it through AI, obviously made a couple of changes and boom, sent it off. So the pain and the struggle wasn't as deep and long as, let's say, 5 years ago, if I were to write that same email. Now it's good because, yeah, it wasn't as painful and it didn't take me as long, but it's bad because I think it's going to take away that human struggle. I think it's okay to be uncomfortable. People need to do hard things in life or need to get used to doing hard things in life to reap that reward. What do you think about that? Taking away the struggle, is that a good thing, bad thing, indifferent? Or that's just how society is going to evolve and that's going to be, it's okay?
think part of what makes us human is that struggle in and of itself, because you can actually learn a lot of things from struggle. But at the same time, I can't deny it. The AI benefits are there are good things about AI, but the problem is there comes other problems that we don't even know about. Like for example, the huge environmental usage and waste that's created by using an excess of AI. We're also seeing elevated prices for utilities and for chips just because everyone's so obsessed with using AI. And I think we're going to see a huge whiplash if something bad were to happen to the industry. But back to my point, that's not to say AI is all bad. I can see the potential for its good uses, especially when it comes to making certain tasks easier. And it's also really good with search. It can interpolate what you want to search and give you the best results for it. And so that's why we're shifting from just getting on the top of Google search results to appearing on the AI based results too.
Okay, getting back to your scientific writing, when you write for a client, how do you balance scientific accuracy with emotional storytelling?
That's a really good question. And this is a question that I'm still thinking about, even as I do all the writing that I do. And I really do think that there are some really good resources I could point to. Product led SEO, that's the book. The why
Okay.
behind building your organic growth strategy. I really like the book. It really helped me see that for a company to do good SEO, the first thing that they have to do is to know what their product is and their strengths and what problems it addresses. And that's something I've seen other content marketers and agencies mention as well. I've got my own interview coming up in that space where we discuss some of this, and my own YouTube channel, just a Genowrite YouTube channel. And in it, we discussed how really to do good marketing, you have to know exactly what your customers wanted to see with your brand and your product. And then you have to write the content that's tailored to those specific needs. And so that you can reach out and find more customers who have that specific need. And these are all things that you have to settle when you're talking with investors, when you're communicating with patients, when you're communicating with scientists. You have to be able to know those things in order to do good marketing. And so it's one thing to say that your product can automate the culturing of like 24 different cell cultures at once. But if a small lab were to look at that, they'll say, well, we don't need to automate 24 cell cultures at once, do we? They'll probably just want to automate like two or three. So a product like that would be great for a bigger biopharma firm or like a CDO, like a CDMO or CRO, who would want to be able to do all those cultures at high throughput rates and automate everything, right? So knowing what your product is and who it's targeting, it's going to make a big deal. Because if you market your copy the wrong way, you're going to attract the wrong audience, and then they'll just say, "Oh, we don't need this." Good storytelling isn't just about producing good content that you know your audience will listen to. Because if you write it in a bad way, it's not going to resonate with the audience, right? Like if the message is unclear or the wording isn't right and the scientists don't like how you worded it, they're not going to want to look at the brand anyway. So storytelling isn't just about the content, it's also about the prose, the style, the sentence structure, the paragraphing. Like there's a lot of things. And just because you have the best technology doesn't mean anyone's going to buy into it. It really depends on how you say it. And good branding is about how you say it. It's about how you make it look. It's about how you present yourself. It's about why you're talking about your brand. Like there's lots of questions to answer. So it's all
Yeah.
those things combined.
Okay. I gotcha. We were talking about struggle earlier and how it's important to go through the struggle and hard things to reap the benefits of a bigger reward later. I mean, you started your own company, Genowrite. I did. I mean, it's hard, right? It's not easy to start your own thing, and the hustle is real for sure. And so that's what I mean by people need to go through this because, if, I wish you nothing but success. And if we ever do reach that, climb that hill, the reward would be that much better. Obviously, you want to drum up business. So how are you drumming up business right now? Is it LinkedIn? What's your strategy right now? I'm really curious as a business owner.
My strategy is evolving right now. So in the past, I've gotten all my clients through LinkedIn outreach and referrals. LinkedIn outreach was huge at first because not many people realized there was a career in freelancing. So I spent a lot of time on LinkedIn just telling people, hey, I write stuff, just work with me. And I reach out to people on LinkedIn with little tweaks and tricks to make LinkedIn outreach more like using group messaging and stuff. But because LinkedIn has made it harder to reap its benefits without paying for LinkedIn, I've started looking for other strategies to get my marketing done. Email copy has played a big role in this. I'm finding that my cold email response has jumped a lot ever since using AI as an editor. So
Hmm.
I just cannot emphasize strongly enough. That email with AI is great if you know how to use it. So use it as an editor. And I've gotten a lot of responses that way and just trying to
And how are you
build.
getting your email addresses?
Apollo.io is one, Hunter.io is another. I
Sure.
would just
Okay.
literally use like their Google Chrome extension just to click on it
Yep.
and then be like, oh, there's your email. Okay, great. I also
Okay.
get emails through referrals now. So like I said, bless the community, like the life sciences community. Like I've been getting a lot more referrals to connect with people as of late because I've, built it over years of just reaching out to people and helping them out. And like just even connecting with people that I interviewed, for example. Oh, hey, could you refer me to so and so who might need work? Oh, yes, we can. Here you go. And that's how I got some of my clients now. Or even just going on LinkedIn. Like I still do little tweaks on LinkedIn where I really optimize like LinkedIn profile and just really highlight what I want to focus on, like brand management, content marketing, writing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And I've also had a lot of help with, commenting on people's posts. Like, hey, I'll see you in the so and so conference, eh? And then they'll like my post, and then I reach out to them by cold email. That seems to help a lot too. So I've had a lot of versatility in my strategy. So this year, I'm trying something new. Like, because I'm going into branding, I'm going to launch my newsletter, which I've already have. I got a couple editions out. We've got a monthly roundup coming up next week and I've already have almost 40 subscribers so far, which is awesome. And
Great.
like I just started this thing, so just seeing that I had this boost in like, people who wanted to just keep in touch with what I've been doing, like I was surprised. I was like, wow, this many people want to keep seeing me my emails pop up every week. Awesome. So let's do that.
Yeah. Very
And
cool.
it also creates that bridge where it's like where people say we don't need work right now, but if we do need something, we'll reach out. The emails, they'll keep
Of
remembering that,
course.
hey, I'm a marketer. I do writing. So if they ever needed it, I'm the first person to call up. I'll let you know if it works out because I just launched my newsletter a few weeks ago. But like I'm also starting a YouTube channel where I'm going to be doing on the ground interviews and just showing people that I know how to make good videos. What was it I was also doing? There was one other thing I'm trying to remember. Oh yes, I'm learning to host webinars now. So I'm volunteering as a webinar host for the Science Writers Communicators of Canada. And there I'm going to be trying out some new things on how to make the webinars look very professional, high quality, and the like. It's people have been saying it for a long time. Like webinars can be a big part of a company's marketing if done right. And I'm going to figure out what that right thing is, and I'm going to tell people how to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think the way to do business in today's world is exactly what you're doing. You definitely have to approach it different angles to get yourself out there, especially when you're a solo entrepreneur. Okay, I want to end on
Exactly.
this. I mean, I have to ask you this because there's not too many people I could talk about this with is the faith question. So you did a bachelor's in biology at Redeemer University, which is known for being a Christian university. And so one thing I want to know is how do you grapple with your Christian faith influences versus science, and how does your faith shape your worldview?
I feel like faith is a big part of what I do. Like it's the very core of who I am. It defines how I see the world. And in my eyes, I feel like the one that I have reflects what I think is the created order of things. And I know in this world where we like to have our own truth, it sounds out against it. but I really do think people are trying to look for that ultimate meaning in their life one way or another, whether it's through, talking with an AI chatbot, for example, to get the answer, or to consume oneself in thy work or something like that, or your relationships and whatnot. And I think for me, faith is a big part of that because for me, I believe that God made the world, sent his son to die for, and right now he's trying to renew the world and shows a glimpse of what a wonderful eternity with him would look like, which is like eternal bliss, fellowship, and love for one another and the world around us. And I want to be able to show a glimpse of that through the work I do, which is why I'm so passionate about marketing because I feel like a lot of companies do have good intentions when it comes to talking about their science and combined with profit, like it can do a lot of great things. Like you can, you know, make life-changing therapeutics and help people realize that through investment, through donations, through funding, and the like. And, or, for patients, you could see them get access to life-changing therapies that otherwise would not have been possible without community investment. You know what I mean? Whether through like an investment firm or through foundations or other organizations. And so for me, seeing all this happen is already a reflection of, for me, what God made the world to be. To see people working together towards something bigger and to see people experience a shalom of sorts, both in physical care, in spiritual care, in relational care, and the like. So for me, like faith informs everything I do, and I know a lot of life sciences professionals who would say the same thing. Like their passion is to help see patients get better, to see them get access to the best therapeutics, to help them or to help scientists better understand the world because like a lot of the greatest scientists were Christians, and to see a created order of things and to understand how it works. And combining all three of that together, I believe that faith should be like a key part of everything I do.
Yeah, I'm a Christian as well, and it's funny because like, the more you understand the world through science, the more you realize, man, there's got to be an architect behind this thing because it's just so crazy, to uncover like all the math laws in science, in nature, how it's actually less random than you think, all the patterns in nature. It's like, who thought of this? Like there's got to be some energy. For us as God, for people as the universe or whatever you want to call it, behind this world. It's just, there's no doubt that there's, like you said, I think, wasn't Isaac Newton Christian as well? Galileo,
Yes, I believe he was. Isaac Newton,
right?
Galileo, Faraday, Blaise Pascal, the list
I
goes on.
mean, hey, Paul, I saw on LinkedIn recently that you posted that you're going to be at the SLAS in Boston conference. Is it next month?
It's just a couple weeks. I'm going to be heading there on the 8th. And from there, I'm going to spend the next couple of days filming and doing written interviews of people across the life sciences who are integrating automation into their research. So expect a lot of really great on the ground interviews. So I'm going to be talking with several companies on site, and I'm hopeful that they'll be giving me a couple of demos as well. In fact, I'm actually visiting a lab down there, and I'm also attending a networking event down there in Cambridge. So I'm really looking forward to all that SLAS has to offer and all the experts who will be there to talk to me about marketing, about automation, about life sciences research, about just making the world a better place through research. And on top of that, like I'm going to be putting this all together for my YouTube channel. So it's going to be like the official launch. And it's great because the organizers enjoyed the work I did last year so much that they invited me back straight up. And I was like, sure, let's
Yeah.
go. So I'm really
Nice.
looking forward to coming back and seeing all the wonderful folks in the life sciences, especially Boston, because Boston's a great city. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed being there the last two times I've been there, and I'm looking forward to being back there once again this in the next couple weeks.
Really appreciate you doing this. And I'm so glad we met. Actually, ironically, we did meet on LinkedIn through Sarah. Shout out to Sarah.
Right.
And
Shout out to Sarah.
and let's do lunch again.
For sure. Totally.